Okay, I think it's actually working now. Mm-hmm. Hello. Hello, everyone. Can we sit a bit closer?
Sure.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm here with Deborah.
Hi.
I'm Olivia. Let's give us sorry, we're a little bit late because we had some technical problems and couldn't get the video to start, but we're here now. So just give us a like or say hello if you're there. So, my name is Olivia. I work at Officeway Office National, so we are business-to-business supplier of stationery and office furniture. I also have another couple of hats. I do Jolly Joey's Music for Kids. I run this networking business group, and I'm an admin on the Bayside Mothers group. So quite varied things, but they all have one thing in common, which is creating communities, getting people together. The reason I created this particular networking group is because I found for Officeway that I was going to business events and meeting people, swapping cards, and then I wanted a way to keep in touch with them and get to know everybody. And that is where I met these lovely people. Hello, Deborah.
Hi. I don't know where to look.
So I met all these lovely people from HR staff and stuff. Met them there, swapped cards, but it was really on the networking page that we started chatting to each other, and we actually started using their services. Whenever there was issues at work previously, we'd either go to Fair Work or perhaps spend lots of money at a solicitor, and we didn't actually know such a service existed, and they've been fabulous for us, so thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll introduce you first. This is Deborah, as I said, you're the director here.
Yep.
And, excuse me a moment. Maybe you can tell me about yourself rather than me reading my notes.
Sure. Well, I agree. I found I was senior level manager in big businesses prior to starting HR staff and stuff, but there was a real need for small and medium businesses to get access to professional HR services, and they can't afford to have a HR manager embedded in the business, and but they need help, and because HR is all about people, people want to do the right thing by people, so we started HR staff and stuff, and I've got a team of 4 HR advisors, but you can't see them, but they're all here because they're happy to...
Hello.
Hi. And we have a really great time helping a really wide and diverse group of clients with all of their people needs, and we try to be really flexible and fluid so that we can provide the services in the way that particular business needs it. So as you know, for your business, we offer an ad hoc service where you guys just call us whenever you want and we help you with whatever you need. And other businesses we might go to regularly, like a full day a week, and act as the internal HR manager for those businesses, kind of implementing a whole strategic HR plan. So that's what we do. We love it.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm glad we love using your services.
Thanks.
Okay, so I've been asking people on Facebook to let me know what questions they have, what they find are the biggest issues for them. But I thought first I'd start just by asking you, because you deal with people all the time, actually asking you directly for help. What do you find is the biggest issue, if you could?
Wow, that's a good question, and I'm going to ask Dina and Danny to both answer for them as well, because we all deal with different clients, so it might be different. I think mine would be the main reason why people come to us is because they have a difficult situation with an employee and they just don't know how to manage it. They know there are general rules and regulations around terminating people. They don't want to just go straight to that, but they just don't know what to do. Like there's either a relationship issue, a toxic employee, something's going on that's really they're not coping with and they don't know how to deal with it. So generally we start there. And that would be, I think, the number one thing that most businesses come to us for in the first place. What about you, Dina?
Okay, a lot of the clients that I help need some foundational HR documents to be put in place, and that's things like employment contracts and policies. I also help with recruitment, so that's quite varied, and that really helps establish a relationship with our clients, so then we can help them with other things like retention and engagement and really exciting programs to keep staff, rewarded and happy. But that's also something that we do. Danny,
what's your big issue?
Oh, my big issues. You probably covered most of my big issues. But some of the other areas that I've been helping in lately have been more on the manufacturing side and work cover and helping to get people back to work and managing risk. And things like that. So that's just a little bit more diverse that I've been looking after.
What do you mean managing risk?
Risk, so having a look at risk assessments for the business and having a look, have they got things in place that would stop people from potentially injuring themselves or hurting themselves and things like that. So
you look at a workplace and look at
doing
making sure that it's OH&S
pretty much
safe.
OH&S meeting regulations in line with legislation, making it a really happy, healthy, productive place to work, and minimising all of the risks. So I've got a strong background in blue collar, so I help a lot of the blue collar companies that have got, say, a small warehouse or something like that. So yes.
Okay, but I didn't know you offered that service.
We do indeed.
Yes.
Very diverse.
Danny goes out and tests people for drug
and
use.
alcohol. So
She's
yes.
an accredited drug and alcohol tester, and we found many of people, on ice, working in factories and stuff that can really put the other employees and the business at real risk.
Yeah.
So Danny got accredited in drug and alcohol testing, and
Wow.
ice is a bit of an epidemic, and she's helped businesses with putting in place policies so we can test people.
How common is that?
Look, it's reasonably common in manufacturing and blue collar areas, which is why we invested in Danny getting accredited, because a lot of our clients don't know what to do if they've got suspicions that people are taking drugs. And when you're working with power tools or lifting heavy objects and stuff, you're putting the business and other employees at risk of, injury or death even, if you've got somebody off their head operating something.
Oh my God.
So Danny does some of that and then helps people, find rehab and helps re-enter them into the business once they kind of come off the drugs and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. You'd be very surprised though that with the ice epidemic now, or more with methamphetamines, it is very common from women between 30 and 45 working in an office environment. Is becoming more and more common because of the fact that they're trying to be a mother, working, doing all of these things, that they engage in that. So that's the statistics came out a couple of weeks ago, and that's the new buzz area.
But you're finding that from your experience anyway. Oh my
am.
God, that's terrible.
Yes.
Especially the synthetic ones are so bad.
That's it.
All right, so I haven't got any, can't see any questions yet there, but anyone out there, if you've got questions, feel free to post them. I might go through some that I've taken notes of because I have been asking for some input from people. For example, people not showing up at the last minute notice for sick leave.
Yeah.
I guess if it might not be Reggie-Tidge.
Look, it's common.
Look,
it's a common problem that a lot of employers have. The big answer is that if people are happy, productive and engaged in work, they generally won't take fake sickies, generally. So it does really always come back to culture, to workplace culture. And that's driven by leadership behaviour. So you can do all the core values workshops in the world, we've got our own, but it is about how the leaders set and expect behaviours. So, you can write a policy about it. So I think the big piece is the engagement. But you obviously put in place a simple policy that sets out very clear rules on what's expected if you're sick, and then manage to that. So if somebody calls in sick, we write in our policies generally, you have to call, you can't text or email in if you're sick, so you must call, and you must give X amount of notice, and if you're sick either side of a public holiday or 2 days in a row, you must provide a medical certificate, and if you don't kind of follow the rules and the annual leave process or the sick leave process, then you don't get paid. And then if somebody's establishing a pattern of absence, if they're doing it regularly, so say the day after payday, all of a sudden they're missing in action every month or every week or every fortnight, you can start to put some other measures in place. It does come down to having really open and honest conversations with people though. You have to sit down and say, hey, every time I pay you, you take the next day off. It's not really okay. What's going on? Do you have an issue that I need to help you manage? If not, then your expectation is that you come to work. It's your responsibility. So honest and open communication. Don't let things fester or get away from you, and put policies in place that you can manage to. So it's not, Olivia said you have to come to work. It's our company policy is that this is what you have to do.
Actually, I noticed that was one of the blogs that you shared on our page, and Vicky read it too.
Right.
And it was like, if something happens, and you just alluded to it then, deal with it quickly.
Yes.
Don't let it fester.
Yeah. Well, things don't stop happening, and the more I have a saying that what gets rewarded gets repeated, and so if you reward good behaviour, and what I mean by reward is just recognise it and acknowledge it and say thank you and great work. So whatever you reward, people will do again because they want that to be repeated. They want to hear that they're doing good work. But the same is true. If you reward bad behaviour, it'll continue to happen. So by refusing to acknowledge that it's happening or just not doing anything about it is basically like condoning it. Condoning it is rewarding it. People will just continue to do it. So if something that is happening in your business that you don't like, stop it. You don't have to put up with it. That's my big message. You do not have to put up with it. There are things you can do.
Someone mentioned that sometimes they're very friendly and they have a lovely relationship with the staff, and then they find it tricky to put on that hat of, I guess, mentioning
Being
those
manager.
things. Yes, I guess, so having to pull people up on those things. So,
well, look, there's a couple of things I would say to that. The first thing is you actually have a job to do. And your job is to, so this is my little saying, the job of a manager is to enhance the profit and operation of the business through your efforts and the efforts of your team. That's your job. So you can be as friendly as you like, but there's a difference between friendly and friends. And you can't be friends at work. You can be friendly, but you have to do your job. And if being friends with somebody prevents you from doing your job, you have to rethink your priorities. But I know that all sounds very fine, well and good in the real, in theory. The practical sense is, if they were really your friends, they wouldn't take advantage of you being in a manager's role. And all of that aside, if something happens, you just have to address that. It doesn't have to be a big conflict. If somebody's just come in late 3 days in a row and they're your friend, you don't have to make it a big drama. You don't have to go, oh my God, you're my friend and you've come in late 3 days in a row. You just have to say, hey, Dina, you've been late the last 3 days. That really has an impact on our business and the team. I'd really appreciate you being on time in future. Please don't let me down again. Mm-hmm. That's it. It doesn't have to be a conversation. You just set a standard, walk away, leave them to it. But by sticking your head in the sand and doing nothing, changes nothing. So it'll just continue to happen. And then other employees will be disgruntled by the fact that somebody's getting away with doing something that is not in line with your values or expectations, and you're not doing anything about it.
So you're not doing anyone any favours by being quiet.
No.
Yeah.
And the number one issue, the number one irk for employees in the workplace is sitting by watching somebody underperform or behave badly and the manager doing nothing about it. That's the number one thing employees are irked by in the workplace. So if you have a problem, do something. Do something. Even if it's just a small conversation. If it escalates into something bigger, then take appropriate more formal action. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I talk fast. I should slow down.
Okay, so what makes a good manager then?
That's a really big question and would probably take 17 hours to answer. But if I had to really drill it down, I think that the best managers, and the word manager and leader can be interchanged, right, these days, they use both, but the best leaders and managers for me are the ones that are authentic and genuine, that lead by example, set clear expectations, and actually care about, nurture and reward their employees. And I think it just really, all of the other stuff you hear, all really comes down to be authentic, be genuine, set clear expectations, set people up for success, care about them, nurture them, and build a team that actually enjoy working for you and creating good outcomes for you. There's a couple of sayings that I like. One is that a leader is someone who people want to do what needs to get done. So if people want to do things for you because they need to get done, doesn't matter how down and dirty it is, if they want to do it and they're compelled to do it, you're leading them well. Yeah. I just came back from a 2-day leadership summit. I've got a zillion quotes I could throw you, but that's what I think makes a good manager.
Excellent. Okay, someone else mentioned a problem of sometimes having staff that are lazy and lack initiative themselves.
Oh, I think that's a perfect one for Danny to help you with, because Danny's been dealing with this lots lately.
Sorry, so can you repeat that question for me?
Lazy employees not using their initiative.
Lazy employees not using their initiative. A lot of the
How do
time,
you get them to be self-motivated, I guess?
It's about sitting down and again, having Deb said before, having that open and honest conversation. But it's about ensuring that they understand the expectations and setting them objectives. And usually when a manager sets an objective for a staff member, they're not going to be engaged. So we really promote sitting down with your staff member and working out clear objectives together. and getting their buy-in on things that need to be achieved.
So they take ownership of
They
it.
take ownership of it. If you direct somebody and tell somebody what to do all of the time and how to do it, they're usually disengaged. We have a specific client at the moment where we have some disengaged people, and it's because the manager keeps coming in and saying, you need to do this, you have to get this done, you guys are lazy, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And in fact, they're lazy because they're desperately unhappy at the moment. So we've sort of sat down with them and put together a strategy and said, this is the objectives of the business, this is what needs to happen. We would like your input. How are we going to get there together as a team? What help can we give you? What support can we give you? What training and develop do you need? Is everybody on board? And going forward with that, we had another client.
So can I ask you on
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah.
So did you talk to the employees, or did you
I helped facilitate.
Did you help
I helped
the managers know what to
in
say?
this specific
or-
instance, we coached everybody through it. So yes, I actually got involved in that and became I've now become their embedded HR manager. So yes, I got involved very much with that. But in other cases, we've coached the manager on how to do that. We've also had another client recently where people weren't lazy and not motivated. They were just the status quo. They were coming to work, doing their job, doing it pretty well, and going home. But there was no trying to go over and above or no vibe, no culture, anything like that. So we actually went in there and ran a core values workshop. We found that they had no core values within the business. So we ran a core values workshop where everybody in the company attended and developed together as a team, as a company, their own core values and what their expectations were of themselves and of each other in terms of their behaviours at work. And I've got to admit, in the last sort of 2 months, 3 months since that's happened, the entire business has lifted. Everybody's coming in, they're motivated, they're engaged, they're actually saying to each other, what you did before was actually really demonstrating our core values. That's fantastic. And everybody's really jumped on board. And it's the first time that I've ran one of these workshops, and I've learnt this from Deb. And it's not that I was sceptical, but I didn't realise what an impact it made on everybody, just holding each other accountable for their behaviours at work and what they believe in and what their company stood for, and it's really important.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because everyone wants to feel, I guess, good about what it is they do at work and proud of themselves.
Correct.
and feel that they're not and it's not all on their
On them,
shoulders.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
exactly right. Yep.
so that's really interesting, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with people and emotions
Correct.
and quite complex and quite a skill set.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
But equally, on top of everything Danny said, people need to understand how their role impacts the big picture. So this is something that we're just really trying to do with our clients now and get them to understand they can have a clear business strategy, and some smaller businesses, let's face it, I think a lot of your audience are probably smaller businesses that haven't really sat there and thought, well, do I have a clear business strategy or business plan? I mean, most businesses don't. Some might have a BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. We have a BHAG. And some businesses might have a real growth strategy. We want to achieve this by this time, in the next couple of years or whatever. People need to understand what their role is in that and how their actions today fits with achieving that. And so when you can make that clear for people, they actually have a sense of purpose. I just, as I mentioned, I went to a leadership summit run by the Financial Review for the last 2 days in Sydney, which was a really fantastic experience. And one of the things that really came out of that is that companies need to be purpose-led. So it doesn't matter how small a business you are or how big a business you are, if you have a really clear purpose, everybody knows where you're going and why you're here, and that gives people a sense of purpose to come to work every day. It doesn't matter if our purpose is to sell 20,000 shoes a week, or if our purpose is to make people feel good by selling great shoes. It doesn't matter what the purpose is, but purpose brings people together and gives them a single thing to focus on. So they understand where their little piece that they do every day fits into the bigger picture. That's important to people.
I'm finding this really fascinating. So I hope everyone out there is enjoying it as much as I am, because I just think, people are fascinating and bringing out the best in them, and, people can have misunderstandings or, get resentment and all sorts of politics. I think politics was one of the things people mentioned. Politics is the worst, and all these things happen, but if you can sort of cut through that and give everyone
Yeah.
for what you're doing, it's giving people a sense of value in their role in the within the company.
Yeah. Well, if you have a clear set of values, you've got a clear purpose for the company, you call out bad behaviour when it happens, so either by peers calling it out or by managers saying, hey, that's not how we do things around here. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a big conflict, you must come into a meeting for a formal warning because you behaved like this. But if you can just say, hey, Amy, that's not how we do things around here. I noticed that you were doing this. We really prefer not to do that around here. We don't like to be politicking, we don't like game playing, we just like everyone to get on their job, so you can leave that stuff behind, and when you come, this is what we expect from you. It doesn't have to be a big conflict conversation, but it sets a very clear message for Amy, who, by the way, that's hypothetical. But when you've got a clear purpose, clear values, set clear expectations for people and give them an opportunity to be their best and do their best work, you have generally a happy, engaged team that are producing results to help you achieve your strategic plan. And they're the pieces that a lot of business owners actually forget. They think, well, I've told them what to do, I hired them to do that, can't they just get on and do it? But there's actually a whole lot of other stuff that goes behind having really great people doing really great work for you. One of my sayings, because I've got lots of them, but one of them is, most people don't get out of bed wanting to go to work and do a bad day's work. Most people want to contribute in a meaningful way in some way, and they want to go home having a sense of achievement, or at least saying, I did a good day's work, have a champagne, play with the kids, go to bed. People don't like that ugly, yucky feeling of going to work in a place where they feel disconnected or there's politics and they don't want to contribute to that. They don't really want to be there. So it's up to the business owners to lead that from the front. It has to be led from the front.
And I guess, well, that reminds me of some issues I've heard of from people I know about communication, complaining about communication because things break down, things don't work at work, deliveries don't happen on time or whatever it might be because there's been a breakdown in communication. So I guess whenever there's some sort of issue, address it. Is the major message I'm getting.
Yeah, absolutely address it. But more importantly, I would encourage every business owner to not allow a blame culture to exist in your business. A blame culture doesn't help anybody, and it certainly doesn't allow people. You have to allow people to fail. So a couple of things on that, really. You can't have a blame culture because people will be scared to do things and get it wrong. You don't want people coming to work to be scared. You want people to come to work and use their initiative and try things and come up with ideas to get better, right? We're in a world now where we have to be constantly innovating and constantly improving and constantly staying one step ahead. And if you've got a team of people that are too scared to try anything new or do anything new for fear of being blamed, you won't keep up. Right? So you've got to create an environment where people can fall over, can fail, can get up and try again and work through what the solution is. So move from blame focused to solutions focused. Okay, it happened. Doesn't matter who it happened. It doesn't matter who did it. What happened? What's important is how did it happen? Where was the process broken? What do we need to do to fix it? Right? Why did the delivery go out on time? Not because Amy screwed up today and didn't get it out on time, but Amy, it didn't go out on time because of this piece of the process was wrong, and that's what we need to fix. People will make mistakes, of course, but if they're blamed, if there's a blame culture, they'll never improve, actually. So I think I was going to go off somewhere else then, but anyway, that'll do for now.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing that can be tricky for people is knowing we've got our contracts redone with you guys.
Yeah.
I guess knowing all those sort of things about legislation, having contracts right, work cover awards, all that sort of stuff is probably a big issue for a lot of
Look, it is a big issue, and I've got to say, unfortunately, Fair Work has a philosophy that ignorance is not an excuse. If you've decided to own a business and have staff, you have obligations, and it's your responsibility to know what they are. And there can be a minefield of things to work through, and you can definitely get lots of information from Fair Work. There's lots of information out there you can Google and find, but sometimes it's really hard to navigate that, and sometimes it's really hard you get conflicting information, you're not sure. That's where we generally start helping with a lot of our clients with all of that kind of legislative stuff and employer obligations. But you can't get away from it, unfortunately. There's no way of circumventing it, but also we have a philosophy in our business. We don't actually want to work with people that want to circumvent the law. We actually believe in the power of engaged, happy employees that are being looked after, and employers are doing the right thing by them. We'll give that back tenfold. So we won't actually work with clients that say to us, I just want to find the cheapest way to get this done, and I don't care if I rip people off. We won't help somebody pay somebody below their minimum entitlements and stuff. So if you're out there and you want that, don't call us. But that's because there's minimum entitlements for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are obligations. You do have to know the rules around termination, around redundancy, around what award your employees should be governed under, what classifications they are, what breaks they're entitled to, what leave entitlements they have. You know, even things like in Victoria, if your employee gets called up for jury duty, unfortunately, you're expected to pay them their salary for as long as that court case goes on, even if it's 6 months. Whereas if you've got an employee in South Australia or Queensland, you don't have to pay anything at all. So you have to know what you have to know, but you can call us when you don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we've done that, and I recommend it, because
Yeah.
trying to go through Fair Work can be confusing, or trying to find it on the website is just go to someone who can tell you the answer,
Yeah.
like you guys.
Look, Fair Work are a great body, but I will say that they're not necessarily HR specialists or lawyers that you're getting on the phone, right?
Yeah.
So we've done this as an experiment. We've called Fair Work 3 or 4 times in a row with exactly the same question and been given exactly different answers.
No wonder we
so
get confused.
yeah, no wonder you do.
All right. Well, I probably should bring this to a close. So thank you very
Okay.
much. Do you have any parting message that you'd want to...
I guess I would say that being a business owner is really challenging, but it's really rewarding as well. And I think I would encourage any business owner out there that's struggling with anything, go and find expert help to help you, because you can't be good at everything. So go and get somebody that's expert in marketing and get advice from them, or financial support or HR support. But if you want your business to be the best it can be, get the expert help in the areas that you don't feel comfortable with, regardless of what they are, because your business will flourish if you get external support with those things, rather than trying to think that you're supposed to know everything, because you're not. You're supposed to be good at what you're good at and gather the right people around you to help with the rest, whether that's employees, whether it's consultants, whether it's contractors. My message is, surround yourself with good people that know their stuff in the areas where you don't have knowledge. Yeah.
Okay, well, I've found it absolutely fascinating, because it's all
Okay.
about bringing out the best in people.
Absolutely it is.
So, absolutely fascinating. So, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
And thank you to all the team.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So, let us know what you thought, if there are any questions we didn't cover, if there's any topics you want in the future. And have a great weekend. See ya. Bye.